back to Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. The last episode, we were not doing Dual Destinies. That is not correct. We were doing the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney game. And we were on episode 1, Turnabout Trump. Ooh, for the final cross-examination. Ooh, so I think we're going to be very close to the end. So let's continue and finish off this case. Now then, where are we going with all this? If I remember correctly, there was a card with a trace of blood on it. This card, it was the 5th ace. But where are we going with this 5th ace? Take another look at the photo and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell onto the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood fall on one of the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Objection! Regardless, that evidence is not permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer! You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Or we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. But what are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture. Baseless!
Objection!
Oh, I assure you, it is quite based. I am a based male. Jesus Christ. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood from a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Whoa! Hello! Whoa! Whoa! Hello! Ooh! We're getting 3D models now! Ooh! I mean, to be fair, from Ace Attorney 3 to Ace Attorney 4, still on the Nintendo DS. Damn, that's quite good. Oh! Damn! Okay! The murder took place in a hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped a card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Whose position doesn't fit with a bloody card? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to assume witness 2 because we're kind of pointing the finger at Christoph, who says he was at the window. I don't know. I'm just going to do it. The second witness's position is the problem. The second witness? Well, that would be Mr. Gavin, yes? The second witness's position is far less problematic than yours right now, Justice. Or perhaps perilous is a better word. I cannot see what the bloodstained card has to do with second witness's location. I'm afraid no more than a parallel of a penalty this time. Your Honor, one more chance, please. I suppose. Do think it over, Mr. Justice. Maybe the victims. Because maybe, I'm thinking back now, wasn't the fifth ace supposed to be in Phoenix's hand, aka the killer's hand? Which would mean it'd be over here. But if the blood came from over here, then it doesn't quite add up. So maybe the victim. Well, isn't the victim's problem this problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look, the victim is struck on the head and then back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind his body, not on a table in front of him. There is also that. Take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position... Come on! I've been saying that for so long! And only now you're discussing this? For fuck's sake. Made me doubt myself. He bled in this position, the blood will fall onto the floor, not on the cards. Why, that's right. So, what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh, man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. The chair was facing the other way. It would have to be. So we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We now know the victim. We know now the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Well, let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts a new understanding of the crime? Are the victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witnesses? Then it has to be this one, because he would have been seen. What doesn't make sense is a second witness. You mean to say I don't make sense? Oh, no, of course you do, sir. As I thought. Help. Would you be kind enough to say to court one more time what you mean? Killers. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Seeing where his indicator currently is? I would think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of the game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking it on the diagram. But there's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry, let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing toward the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer be standing to strike our victim from the front? Well, they would have been standing here. The killer had to be standing, well, here. No, it's not. You get pints of flair, but it's all about what you get. I thought I was onto something there too. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim was facing a solid cupboard. You claim the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above. It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there! What's this now? Oh, sorry, right. I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately.
Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard.
Your Honor?
What?
There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff.
Yes. I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright.
I do my best. Oh, pardon me. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. The killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here. Which means Apollo tried moving the cupboard. Thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. Now, everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my! What's this?
What is it now?
Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we've found yet another contradiction. Phoenix is really enjoying this right now. Like, he's enjoying this way too much. Like, oh my! We found another contradiction? What? What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang. Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical construction.
Now then, Mr. Justice. Please point to the new contradicting indicator. Is the victim the killer, the witness, or second witness?
He couldn't have seen anything. About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, it was. Something doesn't fit. The cupboard would have completely covered up the window to the stairs. That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see him. Someone like Mr. Gavin.
What? What do you say?
Oh? Is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. Again, I am digging this song! Oh, I love this song. Oh, this is already a great one. Oh, I love this game so much. I love these games. All of them. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor.
Order! This is a court of law and I will have order.
We just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Ball Club. They've examined the cupboard at the hideout, Your Honor.
Who? And what did he find?
Well, Your Honor, it turns out there's a secret passage behind it.
What?
Oh, I love this song. I love this game. Ooh! Oh, it's all getting cool now. Shit, I even forgot to read that. Yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that, now that he mentions it. A secret passage is a handy thing that you have when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Well, where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. You see where all our simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked in the victim's hat. It was only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from the inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin? Come on, say something.
Dare I ask what really happened that night?
Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Ugh! What? Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Ray went upstairs and called the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passageway and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard. Sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. Oh, that's not even Apollo. That's Phoenix. Shit. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him, he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red.
Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I am truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin.
Mr. Gavin?
Mr. Payne?
Yeah? Yes, Your Honor?
Prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately.
That was him. Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked. A person of your caliber would get taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick.
Excuse me? What are you saying?
A defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me. His own defense lawyer. Attorney. Whoever.
Illegal.
Objection!
Hang on a minute. Friggin' Nora. Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin, is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne? Yeah, actually, yes. The fingerprints on the metal were upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court, in this case, demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. See how the courtfish squirms to the last. So, see how the courtfish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come with a suitable explanation, just like that. Yeah. Wait, just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into taking his explanation as the only legitimate one. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I think you'll find a simple answer there in plain sight. I actually don't know. How about you just say the answer in plain words?
It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice?
Mr. Kevin said the court and this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done.
Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down?
I don't know. He picked him up. He picked him up like that. It's actually easier to sew than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair.
Excuse me? On the floor?
Yes. Now reach down and pick it up, without getting out of your chair. Yeah. See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Ooh, yes. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here. But like a plain piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of his piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times.
Wow, I can't believe it was that simple.
Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph? I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you swished the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. That's why the card isn't there.
Order! Order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Kevin?
Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle. Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's... as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about that, really. Let me guess, a piece of paper said something about grabbing you a bottle, one of the empty bottles from under the piano, by any chance? Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation?
Ah, yes. I have a memorable idea. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Moore Small Club. And here's one of the bottles in question.
What are you going to dust? What? Hell, what, are you going to dust that for fingerprints too? I'd be surprised if any were on that, but his... Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such an enormous mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? But why? Just humour me. Mr. Wright? That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. It's the Five of Hearts. Oh, there's something inside the bottle. A scrunched up Five of Hearts. What's this? That card again, be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony from the moment. Miss Olga Orley? Yes, our little swindling Devochka. That night... What did I say? Irish, wasn't I? That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Rice lost the hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planet card that you disposed of? When you mentioned in this piece of testimony. I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yeah, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the Five of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card. Before the game.
Dispose? Where?
There was an empty bottle of grape juice I'd been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The Five of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the fourth person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Oh. Oh, dearie me. That is all. I think we've got him at last. Is this your idea of revenge, Felix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic. Straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little tete-a-tete, right? This is insane. What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Miss Bean, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. They're processing his arrest now.
I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
None that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add?
I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter.
About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveller. Not profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him.
I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good. Mr. Wright,
Yes?
7 years and you still haven't lost your touch.
Christopher Gavin was a man of much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer.
He was extremely talented, to be sure.
I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated. This courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo.
Me?
This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Well, this seems to be like a good time to announce a verdict. The squad finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Yay! I'm very proud of you. Court is adjourned.
April 20th, 4:28 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 3. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you calling Mr. Killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sent it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if he means... I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. Of course it's true. Of course it's true. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer? Right. Today was full of questions without most without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Oh, it reminds me, I had the girl whose picture's in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. You know, you were right about this locket. Hey! I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to me. Wait, but that's perjury! You testified. You said that locket was yours. I said no such thing. Actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't or the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be on a job. However, Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo? Yeah? How about coming to work for me? Hey? You mean at the Right and Goal offices? All the law offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you... You're not a... Oh. I had turned to my badge. Yes, I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good. Jesus Christ. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Oh, for God's sake. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. An ordinary magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet this was the forged evidence. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yes, I forged this card. One of the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's called themselves an attorney? Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. No, that matters much now, does it? I punched him. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My officer's address. Drop in if you'd like. Mr. Wright. Oh, what about your uppercut? Try yelling take that next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time I had no idea where they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find that out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. End. Ooh. We are going to save. We are going to move on to the next episode, but only to see the intro. Let's go. Episode 2, Turnabout Corner. As long as we draw breath, the wheel of fate turns. Was that Phoenix? What in the hell? Spinning big crimes and little crimes together. And when the wheel stops... Oh my God! You die. June 15th, 9:12 a.m. Wright & Co. Law Offices. But Wright & Co. Law Offices we will do in the next episode. If you guys did enjoy this episode, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help. Click the bell icon down below to be notified when I live stream or upload a video. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!